Greetings, I'm Stanley Up for the American Dream. We'll hear from our guests in just a moment.
This is WGLS Rowan Radio.
And welcome again to the American Dream and your host, Stanley L. Today we have in the house Miss, let me see that banner, Veterans Day?
Yes.
Yes. Miss Veterans Day.
Ashley Kulikowski. So I compete for the Miss America organization.
You know what? I love when you come to the show. She's got a crown on and the whole bit. I mean, yeah, you should see this. Well, you will if you go onto the YouTube channel and watch it. But anyway, yeah, it's glad to have you back. And you're doing a lot of big things.
Yes, I'm excited to be here and talk with you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's back up just a hair and let everybody know, again, who you are and where you're from and some, home grassroots kind of background.
Yes. So my name is Ashley Kulikowski. I'm from Glassboro, New Jersey. I grew up in Glassboro. I went to Glassboro High School, and now I am a junior at Rowan University. So it's really cool to be on Rowan Radio for the college that you go to school for, school in. Yeah. Did I say that right? It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm a psychology student. I'm here because I founded Fearless Movement. Fearless Movement's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We promote epilepsy advocacy and also instill fearless programs within schools and hospitals in our area. So definitely check out fearlessmovement.org for any other information and how to get involved.
Yeah, she does social media marketing too, you know that.
Yeah, social media is huge. Knowledge is power, everyone.
It's funny because, knowing you it's been a couple of years now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I know that you have, you're just creative in a lot of different ways. You have the entrepreneurial side, you have the creative side, you're doing stuff in the community. I mean, you're really a huge candidate for some things that I would definitely nominate you for.
Thank you.
And I'm serious about that. But, you have some other special things going on. But would you mind telling your story about Fearless Movement, how it came about?
Yes, I'd love to. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 13 years old. And when I was first diagnosed with epilepsy, well, if you do not know what epilepsy is first, it's a neurological disorder in the brain that causes one to have reoccurrent seizures. So a seizure isn't just the only type of seizure where you fall to the ground and convulse. There are many different types of seizures, but for me, that was the type of seizures I was having, grand mal seizures. So I was very fearful. I allowed that fear to define me, and it pushed me into a deep depression. And for years, I battled with depression and anxiety because of fear. I allowed my illness to define me, and I allowed my fears to define me. But then when I was hospitalized for my depression, God shared He did not give me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and sound mind. And those were the three qualities I needed to become to combat not only epilepsy, but my fears. So once I was able to overcome depression and anxiety, that's when I realized my story wasn't just for me. For me to go through it and then to overcome it and go on with the rest of my life. So many other people battle with the same thing, whether it's with epilepsy or fear. Right now, for everyone who's listening, you can think of one fear that you have in your life that's holding you back. So through Fearless Movement, God gave me that vision to create Fearless Movement. We have reached people in over 13 different countries through fearlessmovement.org with over 17,000 views, along with our social media and our app that's in our App Store and the Apple App Store and Google Play. So we help those acknowledge their fears and overcome it. And that's all from my personal story.
It's funny because you have actually developed and executed your own social media plans and all.
Yes, I have.
You also do all your own fundraising, coordinating your own type of events and things like that.
Yes.
And that's what I mean when I'm talking to you. I know it's just vast that you have this ability. Colton has a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So when people are using your app, how exactly does it? How does it work? Do they give their information and then give the thing they're fearful about, or do they do it anonymously, or how do you do it?
I'm so happy you asked this question. So I created the app to create a community within those, not only in the United States, but internationally as well. The main reason why I created this app was for the social wall. So our social wall has gives everyone the ability to write on, you can do it anonymously or create a username and the account basically, and go on to the social wall. There's two, the Share Your Story social wall and then the Fearlessly Authentic. On the Share Your Story social wall, you can share about a hardship or a fear that you had to overcome in your life and share how you've overcame that so that you can help those in the fearful community overcome and combat their fears as well. Then there's the Fearlessly Authentic wall, and that wall is specifically for people who are in a hardship right now, whether it's with epilepsy, cancer, diabetes, any illness or hardship. They can share what they're going through right now in this moment and share that they need help. So they're able to see that they're not only alone, but they can also help others by sharing their story and sharing the tangible ways of how they've overcome and combat their fears. Another quick side note, on the app, there are crisis lines. So for instance, the suicide prevention line is something so huge. So if anyone is ever feeling overwhelmed with fear that they can't go on another day because of what they're battling with, there's lines that they don't even have to call. They can text. If they don't have the courage to call, they can just send a text, hey, I need help, and talk it out with someone so that they can save their own life through the click of an app.
Can people, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can people talk to one another, like privately or publicly? Like, can they talk, or is it just a posting type thing?
So they can talk to each other through messaging, and they can also talk to each other publicly as well. But again, it can be anonymous, and that's something huge that I definitely promote because I know how it feels to not want to speak out about what you're going through, about depression, anxiety, anything that you're going through. It's fearful. You don't want to let people know that you're not okay. But this app is to show others that it's okay to not be okay. And they have to speak out to get help.
Right. I'm resonating with what you're saying. Years ago, I was on the board of Kulikowski County Contact, which is crisis intervention organization.
Awesome.
And it had hotlines, so I had to go through the training and all. And it was interesting how the anonymous thing played a big part in people being able to call this 24-hour hotline and be able to, have help. And it was really powerful just to go through the training. I never was on the phones, but I learned so much. I appreciate what you're saying.
It definitely changes the numbers of how many people will actually speak up about what's going on. And then finally, our main goal through the app is that someone will speak up and share who they are because they've overcame what they've gone through, and they've gained that courage to share, you know what, for instance, my name is Ashley. I did battle depression, but this is what I've learned from it. And here I am to help you overcome it too.
I tell you, a powerful young lady.
Thank you.
Now, what do you have coming up? I know you have a bunch of things lined up in the near future. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so on May 18th, I have Taste of Italy. It's our first annual scholarship dinner. So all of the proceeds benefit a high school senior at Glassboro High School, and it's specifically for students who have gone through trialing circumstances, horrific events within their high school career that really prevented them from excelling 100% in their schoolwork. When I was diagnosed with epilepsy, it was in the beginning of my high school career. And I would have seizures that would keep me out of school for days at a time, even weeks at a time. And that held me back from getting a 4.0 GPA. So the great thing about this scholarship is, for instance, teens that are the sole provider for their household, they do not have to have a 4.0 GPA, but they want to further their education. This is who that scholarship is for, to help further their education. And they have to share within a 2-page essay about the hardship that they've gone through and how they've overcome it and how they plan to share that story with the community to help others overcome their circumstances similar. Nice.
What do you think, Carlton?
Oh, that's great.
You getting ideas? It's funny, as I was saying earlier, how you develop these initiatives. I guess I'll use that word. The question I have is this scholarship idea your idea? I mean, how far are you taking Fearless Movement at this point?
So the scholarship idea was, I guess you could say, my idea. I was blessed by Glassboro High School receiving over $4,000 my senior night, they called it, when you would send in your essays for scholarships months in advance, and senior night, if you got picked for any of those scholarships, you were invited to join. So thankfully, I was able to receive that much money in scholarships, and I'm financially responsible for my college education. So that was a huge help for me. And I always had the plan of giving back to Glassboro High School by giving a scholarship from Fearless Movement. And I didn't know how I was going to go about it up until this year, when I really thought about the years that I wasn't in school because I had a seizure and I had to retake my chemistry class and things like that made me fear about my college education. Would I be able to get into a 4-year university? And that really that made me fear. So I wanted to be able to give back to the students who were in the same situation that I was.
Okay, Carlton again.
Do you think a lot of people who have that type of medical condition tend to drop out or just achieve a lot less than other people, would you say? Or
So I definitely believe that anyone with any medical condition is more likely to not be as ambitious, not be as motivated, especially with the medications that you are on. They can result in side effects such as depression and anxiety, which takes away any motivation you have to do anything, let alone go ahead and get a college education.
That's a very strong point. That's a good question. Because, when I think about it, I think about some of the kids that I work with who have behavior issues, and they're taking medications, and you can see the difference
Yes.
And I would imagine it does take a toll, Yeah, that's an interesting point. There needs to be more initiatives to help balance that out, because I can see kids like checking out, I'm not going to school today because...
And it's hard work, too. Just to be a regular high school student without a medical condition is hard. And I think anyone, whether you're in high school or you're a college student or you're past college or not in college, whatever it is, it's hard work to succeed in life. And then add a health condition on top of it, it takes even more work.
Right.
So yes, you do have to do the hard work. You have to work even harder sometimes, but in the end, it's worth it. So that's why I'm here to share my story through Fearless Movement, through Rowan Radio, through opportunities like this and the scholarship dinner, which is at, my bad, I did not say it, Pittman Art Gallery in Pittman, New Jersey. You can find all of the information about that at fearlessmovement.org and when tickets launch. But that's why I do what I do.
Well, you're definitely an example, that's for sure.
Thank you.
No, seriously, I mean, you walked the walk, you talked it, you went through the experience, you're overcoming a lot, achieving a lot, and I think that example alone is admirable. At this point, I want to ask you, what is your American dream?
I'm living it, and I'm so blessed to live it, and that is to run Fearless Movement full-time. Just recently, I made the hard decision of leaving a full-time job with a great salary and benefits to invest time in Fearless Movement so that one day it can be my actual career where I get a salary from it and can employ others to help expand Fearless Movement's mission and reach. So I'm living it. And at the same time, I'm not, because I'm not there 100% where I can employ others.
Sure.
I recently just hired a social media intern. Her name is Allie, and she's amazing. So shout out Allie when you watch this. She has learned so much and is willing to learn more. And I just love that I have the opportunity to teach her what I have learned, but also to learn from her and to see someone else so passionate about Fearless Movement. So really, my American dream is to continue making Fearless Movement my career, but getting more involved like Allie.
I'm flashbacking, and I have to ask a question. I hope you don't mind. How old are you now?
I'm 21.
Just so everybody knows.
I'm crazy, but it takes hard work, guys. It does not come easy, and I definitely want to say that because with social media, you can look at people's Instagram feed or their Facebook, and you think, wow, I wish I lived this person's life. And I promise you, 100% of the time, whatever you're looking at is either not real or it's only their highlights of their life. You don't see the hard work behind it.
Right. Exactly that.
Social media has been proven time and time again to cause depression.
Exactly. Because we live in a world of comparison. And comparison is a thief of joy. And I think that's so important to shine a light upon, especially in social media, because so many they result in being depressed
Mm-hmm.
because of
Mm-hmm.
social media and comparison.
Mm-hmm. Well, my issue with the social media is that the younger people that are younger, the ones that are younger, are picking up habits and behaviors that may be fake.
Yes.
You know? And I think that's a bit my biggest issue if I have an issue with it. But I mean, you're doing a lot. Look who came in the house here, Mr. Press Pause himself. Anyway, we talked about some things before the show, and I'm looking at you going to the veteran that direction now.
Yes.
What do you see? I mean, what's the process now for you as Miss Veterans Day New Jersey, or what's it?
Yes. So for the Miss America organization, you first have to win a local preliminary
Mm-hmm.
title. So that's exactly what happened. I won a local preliminary title, Miss Veterans Day. And the next step is competing for Miss New Jersey. And then, of course, if you win Miss New Jersey, you go to Miss America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many people get the Miss America organization mixed up with other pageantry organizations. The Miss America organization is strictly a scholarship competition. So there are so many candidates within New Jersey that compete to further their education. So that is something I'm so grateful for, that I'm able to further my education while promoting my platform. You also have to have a platform that you're an advocate for.
Right.
So of course, what better than to promote than my nonprofit organization? So it just gives me another reason to compete in this organization and to be by women that want to make change.
Right.
And the saying, empowered women truly empower other women, is so true, because I've been empowered by so many.
Well, there's a couple of sayings I could put out there. What's the one from, there's a book called Cup of Tea, and the phrase is, teach a man and you teach one person, teach a woman and you teach the whole village.
Yes. It's because we have tons of conversations, and that's something good about women.
Oh, but you also represent the family. You know,
Yes,
Dad
you're
doesn't
right.
spend a whole lot of time with the family. Mom does all that. That has that major influence. But yeah, I have a tremendous respect for women, and you're our first guest for Women's History Month too. So
Awesome. Yes, thank you for having me.
You had to do it. You know how that goes.
Hey, I'm hoping to make history, and especially with Fearless Movement, with health legislation I'm in the midst of creating and passing. So that's something I'm really hoping to make history within Glassboro, too.
Good, good. On that note, we're going to take a break, okay? And we'll be back after this.
Welcome back to the American Dream. I now present to you Beyond the Barriers with Dr. Stanley L.
Whether you're raising a family, advancing a career, building a business on a mission from God, victory lies beyond the barriers. Your heart's desire is always true and pure. It is contact with destructive energy and human suggestions that alter its pure state. The heart, being its sacred place, the haven of your source of life, never deceives you. It only loves, and with the constant expansion of itself as its only motive. What is it that alters our heart's desire? What takes place that causes us to experience the stress and limitations of the world around us? Think, beloved ones. Although your heart is pure and your minds and feelings exist the accumulation of ages of human activity, some constructive and some destructive. We live in a world that is the accumulation of the past deceit, the past destruction, the past achievements, and the past glories. It seems that we live by habit and suggestion. There are constantly demands upon us from others who expect us to do their will, and often against our own. Can we ever find the strength and courage to stand against that? Yes, we can, especially when what we stand for is for the good of all. I am the strength, the courage, the power to move forward steadily through all experiences, whatever they may be, and to remain joyous and uplifted, filled with peace and harmony at all times by the glorious presence which I am.
The American Dream, reality on Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM, with host Stanley L.
I believe the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy in a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies, everywhere, forever.
The first principle of liberty states, the only reliable basis for sound government and just human relations is natural law.
And that concludes the American Dream. I'd like to thank you, our listeners, for sharing your time and attention. And, of course, Ashley, for blessing us with this opening acknowledgement and celebration of Women's History Month.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, you know it. Final words?
Yes, especially for all the women out there. Right now, I'm reading a book that's called Girls Stop Apologizing. We live in a world that we feel that we need to apologize for wanting to succeed or wanting to be an entrepreneur or own who we are. So today, my encouragement is to go out and combat those fears. You are who you are, and you need to own it. Good. Any shout-outs? Shout out to all of you who have me here, my family who supports me, my boyfriend Jeff who supports me, literally my rock, my fearless team, Allie, just everyone who has been there. Of course, God, because without him, I wouldn't be anything. Absolutely. Shout outs.
I'd like to shout out my mom because today's her birthday. So
happy birthday, Mom. I'm going to shout out the kids over at the high school in Woodbury. Yeah, Nashawn and Jaden and Jaquan and Christian, and of course my co-workers, the teacher there, Miss whatever her name is. One of those kind of things just happened, Miss Ventura, and then there's Mr. Latch, and love you all. We'll see you next time around. Caitlin.
Shout out to Derek, the engineers, and the lovely staff here at Rowan Radio that have us on and having us sounding real crystal clear, nice, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Derek, that guy's, he works magic, you know that? He's a magician. Yeah, they got a magician on here. Okay, anyway.
And this has been The American Dream on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. As always, have a great week, everyone.
American, the beautiful